So I made a video a few weeks ago called Why You Can't Rank Up, and it was very well received. But then this comment caught my eye. It's by Mahio. It says, "Yo Simba, can you elaborate on that last reason? Like a vid on it, because I think that's the problem I'm struggling with. Happy face." Spoiler alert. In that previously mentioned video, my final point was that a reason you don't rank up is because your game plan or your playstyle sucks. And after asking chat and thinking about it, let's elaborate. So first off, let's begin by talking about, in general, the three main playstyles that are really used when playing ranked, or if you guys watch the competitive scene of Apex. But before we get to that, I want to remind you guys, if you guys enjoyed this video and are also interested in more Apex rank guides, Apex tip videos, Apex ranked live streams, all that stuff, hit that subscribe button. All that and more we do on this channel. So now let's get on with the playstyles. The first playstyle is going to be a very traditional of competitive Apex back at the beginning, which was mainly you're going to drop, and in this one you are going to hit beacon. You are going to, at that point, try and predict the zone or final zone or the best spot, and given that second zone's information that it gives you, you're going to loot quickly and you're going to rotate as fast as you can into what you think is the best spot in that zone. Play very defensive, hold your spot, try and play it slow, and play for endgame and get your KP at the end. So that's really the first play style. It is a more traditionalist style, more TSM early on when they were winning everything, how the game was played with like the Watson meta. So you guys know what I'm talking about. So on to playstyle number 2. This one's going to be a more nuanced aggro way of playing, and this one's going to be the edge fighters type of playstyle. And this is going to be mainly, you're going to land, you're going to loot up, you're going to take your time, and then you're just going to sit down and float edge of zone, taking isolated fights, third partying when possible. This does not mean that you're going to be rotating super duper late, taking zone damage all the time, rotating through the zone, coming in super late to everything. No, this means you're taking edge fights. You're not rotating to the center of zones, you're taking edge fights. That's what that means. So you're an edge fighting team, not an outside in the zone team. And now the number 3, which is more of a hybrid of these two, and this one is going to be basically where you land on beacon, you get that zone knowledge, you loot as fast as possible, you try and get to the whatever you think the best spot of that second zone is, where maybe zone does end. But once you get to that spot in the second zone, you're at that point going to look to, hey, who can we fight, maybe isolated, who can be third party, and you look to get KP around that early-ish mid-game area. And then since you're already in a good spot within the second zone, if the zone that then pulls a little bit here, a little bit there, you're really close by to make that adjustment in where you're holding, and then maybe sit a little bit more chill and play for endgame. So this video was a very interesting one to make. When I was thinking about the script for this, it really was like, I can't tell you guys what your best playstyle is. This is something you have to think for yourself, because I don't know every single one of you that watches this video. So I have to give you guys the tools to figure it out for yourself. So I have a few questions that I want to ask you guys, and I want to talk about maybe for a little bit, and I'll spend too much time on that. But before that, I want to talk about maybe like how I found my playstyle, because maybe that helps you guys figure out, you know, what you guys like to do. So mainly for me, I'm a very analytical person. I love to think and big brain stuff. I come from a background of software development, so a lot of logic and thinking and like puzzles and solving stuff like that. All of that is definitely in my wheelhouse. So that's just like a background on who I am. And then going into Apex, I was a huge fan of competitive when I started watching it. So I was a huge fan of like TSM, because obviously they were winning everything. So I was like, I want to be as good as them. How do they play? And obviously, you know, at the beginning of Apex, it was a lot of, you know, move very fast with Wraith and Pathfinder, and then camp a spot with Watson. Zone prediction was key, holding your area, picking the best spot in zone and holding it, and then being able to fight everyone off. Like, that was key. So then, as obviously ranked came into Apex, and as I started getting better and the people in the lobby started getting harder, I would always try and not emulate, but really try and like, oh, you know, I should probably get good at predicting zones. I should get about, you know, be good at predicting my rotation, where I should go, where I think the best spot in the zone is going to be. Where am I going to be able to rotate without teams maybe running into me and getting into an unnecessary fight? Stuff like that is stuff that I would just always naturally think about as my skill was progressing. Because honestly, at the beginning of the game, I was trash. So I couldn't rotate to a spot quickly and hold it because I didn't have the skill to do it. But I would always do that, and I just naturally started flowing into the number 3 playstyle I talked to you guys about, which is now a very common playstyle to see. Even the now TSM with Snipe Down run this more hybrid style. Even NRG sort of plays this way. So I just, since I was always very analytical, but maybe didn't have the skill to do it, I knew I couldn't hold these spots, so I would get into near, close, very good spots, but not the spot maybe, so that I wouldn't get pushed by everyone, and I would just take some fights but get into a good spot and then be able to try and third, maybe take a small fight early, stuff of that nature. And with how I already was and my increasing skill level, and it's just developed into now I very much can drop on a beacon, give you a solid zone prediction, take my team to maybe a really good spot for endgame, and then we can get KP on another team that maybe rotates early. We hear a third party maybe very close and we can go get, you know? So that is how I came to develop my enjoyment of the hybrid playstyle. It kind of happened because of my lack of skill and enjoyment for like thinking and solving stuff, and that's kind of how I ended up getting into that hybrid playstyle. And I can play very aggro, I can play even more defensive. It just depends, but it just kind of developed into that while I was solo queuing and also doing all that stuff. So that's really my experience with how I develop my playstyle and how I play, which, like I said, is very much the hybrid playstyle I described earlier. But now let's get into the questions I want to leave to you guys, so that then you can start thinking of this and really thinking about how you are. So I'm gonna hit you with about like 5 or 6 questions, and there's really not much I can do other than maybe explain the what's, but let's just go. So, you know, first of all, it's gonna start off from, what legend do you like to play? Do you have a specific, you know, 1 or 2 mains that you're gonna play? Because everyone has favorites, and depending on the legend you play, one playstyle, one game plan might suit you a little better. You may want to be Watson, you may love Watson, but it's very hard to be a really good aggro Watson. So you might be forced into a sort of, you know, way, you may get nudged there. So you have to realize, who do you like? And which one of maybe the 3 playstyles do you enjoy? Or can you think of another playstyle, you know? Again, this is another one for you guys. What type of gamer are you? When you're playing FPS games, do you tend to be more aggro? Do you tend to be more passive? Are you the dude that likes to use like snipers and get into really high spots? Are you the dude that likes to just play it really slow? Do you love to just dive in Call of Duty and then just die immediately and go right back? You know, what type of gamer are you? That's something that you need to sort of figure out maybe for yourself. Now, to another question, you know, when you play Apex, how do you tend to play right now? Do you enjoy trying to third party? Do you enjoy getting a lot of kills? Do you enjoy the satisfaction of predicting zones? You know, what is the thing you enjoy about Apex? Because even if you've never thought about like, what's my playstyle every game that I jump in, you play a certain way, unless you're just like just running in circles, and then you miraculously like somehow, like, even if you have no plan, there's always something that you're trying to do, right? Whether you're just walking around trying to get a third party, walking around trying to get a good spot, like, or just holding edge, or just trying to get your KP early, or, you know, just trying to fight as much as possible. Like, there's always something you're trying to do, unless you just have nothing that you're trying to do, in which case you're probably not making it very far in ranked, because you at least have to have some type of idea of what you want. You know, to fight, to win the game, something. So you have to think about, like, what do you enjoy doing? What is something that gives you satisfaction? What is what you enjoy about video games, about shooters? These are all questions that you need to answer for yourself. And with that, you can then go to the beginning of this video where I talked about my play styles, about my personal experience. See how maybe your experience fits with mine, with your answers and my answers and the play styles. And you can start maybe formulating an opinion of, I think this is how I want to play going forward. And why do I say that? Because I'm going back to the video that this was born from. If you have a game plan from the beginning of your game and it's repetitive, every single game you do the same thing. It's like free throws. If you guys know free throws, it's like penalty kicks. If you guys watch soccer, the more you do something, the easier it is in the moment to do. You know, once you get into the higher level lobbies, diamond, pred, platinum, the better players are doing the same things over and over and over. Why? Because they're good at it. They're good at getting, you know, all their KP from edge fighting, and they're getting into zones still, and they're still getting into a spot to win even though they're fighting on the outside. The teams that can predict zone, get a good spot, and they can hold it, they're good at it, and they're gonna win because they're good at it, because they do it all the damn time. I can predict a lot of zones because I do it every single game. Even if my teammates don't listen to me, I'm still pinging on the map where I think the zone's gonna go. Repetition. So answer these questions for you guys. I hope this can help you guys start to figure out what y'all's game plan is, what y'all's playstyle is going to be when you guys are going to play ranked, and I hope it helps you guys consistently gain RP and rank up faster in ranked Apex. And with that, we're going to close this, guys. Thank you so much. If you enjoyed, remember to drop a like, drop a subscribe, and I'll see you guys at the next one. Keep it locked.